I guess I just have one question about the AI copywriting because my thing is this with AI. I think AI and algorithms are good at finding people. This is my own personal thing that I made up, but I think this is so true. They're really good at finding people, but they're not that great at convincing them to buy from you. But I have no idea how good AI copywriting is. I've seen a ton of programs for it. So,
Mm.
can you describe what it is? What can people expect if they actually use it? And overall, just a quick summary of it, because this is also just for me as well, because I'm intrigued by the idea. But
Sure.
yeah,
So, I mean, I don't have a super in-depth understanding of like the technical side, but
no,
basically
yeah,
they use like natural language processing algorithms, and they get trained on basically reading a ton of content. Like the most of these tools use OpenAI, which is a like a really big artificial intelligence company.
hmm
So most of them use, I think it's called GPT-3, which is created by OpenAI, and it's this natural language processing AI that is really good for AI copywriting. And so it's trained on like just about, I think, something like 80% of the internet as of like 2019. It had
hmm
read like 80-90% of the internet, something like that.
wow,
Um,
interesting.
and so it knows a ton of historical information, and it's also trained on copywriting. So you can just command these programs to, so say you want to write an ad, you can say, write me an ad about selling SMMA services using an AIDA framework, and it will do that. It'll spit out like a properly structured AIDA framework, often using power words, often very good copy that might work as it is, or you might just need to tweak it a little bit. Um,
And
so that's
just for those who don't know what AIDA is, it stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Just for those who don't know what that is, it's a common copywriting framework to get people's attention, their interest, and then they desire your product, and then they take your action, whether to be click the link, buy the product, etc. But and I just wanted to explain that really quickly. I know we continue. So they use powerful words, and it seems like is it? Yeah, continue, and then I'll ask my follow up question.
yeah, so that's one thing that they're very useful for.
hmm
But the more powerful ones, the ones that are really well made, you can also use them for writing long form content. So you can start a sentence and then get it to finish the sentence, and it might like finish the entire paragraph for you. And it might not do everything completely correct, but if you need to type, like, I mean, for me, uh, I get repetitive motion injuries if I type too much. So if I'm writing a 2,000 word article and the AI generates half of that text for me, then I can spend twice as much time writing, and I can create much more content faster
hmm
without having damage to my body. So
hmm
that's a big plus for me. And just like the speed of it is very useful for a lot of people, and it's also it can be very helpful for people who have like English as a second language. Maybe they're not quite as good at writing proper sentences all the time. But so if the AI is doing like the heavy lifting, then they can get a lot of their sentences written just perfectly as someone who's native to English would write them, and then they can use another tool like Grammarly to like check it,
Check it out.
and which also Grammarly uses AI as well. It's just not like a writing tool.
The editing. Um, is the content that they make unique? So yeah, is it like completely unique? Because that's my biggest worry. It's like, will the content be unique all the time, even if two people put in the same parameters for the same AIDA format? Will it come up with unique copy, or is it like the same thing and then you may need to edit it just in case you want to make it a little bit more unique in your style?
No, it should be unique every time.
Mm,
I know this question comes up a lot, and the main tool that I use, I guess I use a number of them, but
mhm,
the kind of the big one is Jarvis, and I think they estimate that like 99% of the copy it generates is completely unique,
mhm.
um, which is you,
It's
as
insane.
good as a human. Like because if you write a 2,000 word article and then you put it into Grammarly's plagiarism checker, you'll normally get at least 5% plagiarism because you're going to have passages that are the exact same as other people's writing. It might not even be usually it's not even articles that are on the same topic, but it'll
Mm,
be like half of a sentence appears identically in someone else's article, and the plagiarism checker will count that as like a small amount of plagiarism. Um, so that's the only thing I've seen. I when I first started using it, I was checking everything I wrote with it for plagiarism, just running it through Grammarly Premium, and yeah, it's really no different than my own writing in terms of that. In terms of like the amount of similar text to other text on the internet, it's completely unique as far as I can see.
mhm. All right, great. So that's awesome. And have you what about the results that it's like? Have you when you've used it and let's say you has it gotten you good results or like you can has it gotten you good results? Has it gotten you mediocre or what the results like? How are the results overall once you post it online or distribute it or show it to an audience?
The results are very good. I mean, I do always a certain amount of editing. Like I'm not just gonna like auto generate an article and then post it as is. I'm always tweaking stuff. But yeah, I've got articles that are ranking like number one for fairly difficult search terms that I wrote with AI.
Hmm.
Um, because I've written pretty much everything on my blog for the past almost 3 months now using AI tools to help, and it's all doing fine. I've actually, because I've been able to create more content faster, I've actually like doubled, about doubled my traffic in the past 3 or 4 months.
Ooh, that's great.
Um, yeah, it's not bad. Um, so that's because I mean, more content, generally speaking, is better as long as you're not sliding on quality. Having more content is better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's great. I'll ask you to send me a link to, the Jarvis, and then I'll put it because I do want to post this AI section on, because I just my questions, my doubt was, is it any good? Can it generate you good results? And pretty much, and you answer those overall, and then I'm sure you have videos on your channel. You definitely do that describe it more in detail about like what it is, how it works, and all that stuff. So I'll definitely link to it description. My so how much? So let's say it takes you 100 minutes usually to write an article. With AI, how much time would it take you now using that 100 minutes as a benchmark?
Um, Probably around like 60 to 70 minutes. It probably saves me 30 to 40% of my time
Okay.
on articles.
So does it?
Um,
So it doesn't really write it. So it doesn't really write it for you, and you're just taking the time editing it, tweaking it, maybe making it your own flair. So is that what it is, or is it just yeah? Describe it.
it Well, the different tools work a little bit differently. The long form ones that I use for writing blogs, basically it gives you a text editor, and you can just give it some context. So you could so say I wanted to write a product review, I could literally go online and copy and paste a product description from somewhere else
Yeah.
just to give it some context. And then once it has that information about the product, it's going to write unique content about that product. And then once it gets going, I can just keep asking it to write more, and I can just kind of guide it. So, um, usually what I'll do is I'll start to write a sentence and
Hmm.
then I'll command it to write, and it will continue on. And if it goes in the right, if it writes what I wanted it to, then I'll just tell it to keep going. If it doesn't write what I want it to, then I tweak it and then I tell it to keep going, and it
Mm,
keeps going in the direction that I want it to.
that's great.
Um, and the cool thing, actually, the really cool thing that I think you would like about this is for ad copy, because you can actually train AI using your own ad copy. I did this recently. I don't really make like a big deal out of this, and I don't mention it in every video or anything. But if someone buys one of those through my link, then I will help them, or for them, I'll just like make them a custom framework or something. Because basically, with these tools, the way they work is you can kind of like train them to write more, to write better, or write in your voice. Like if you provide a good framework for what you want written, then you can get much better results out
Mm,
of the text that they generate. And I started with well, I was using Closer's copy, and then I started doing it with Jarvis as well. But so you can use your own ad copy as an example and put a few examples in, and then set up a framework, and then tell it to write, and it'll write ad copy based on the framework that you provide in basically your voice.
mm,
Like it'll write it in a similar way. Like I have these social media posts that I used recently on the Jarvis job board, and
mm-hmm,
they were getting a lot of interaction because they were like really confident, really like like I'm good at this, you should hire me kind of thing. And I put those into as examples, and then had it generate more examples of the same types of posts, and they were
mm-hmm.
actually really good. Like they came out uh, kind of in my voice, very confident sounding, very like just sort of like direct, and the same kind of style. So that's what I think you might like about these, is that you can take stuff that you've written, like ads that you really like, and you can just feed that in, and then say, get it to like write more of the same kind of stuff.
Okay, wow, that's very good. Yeah, so definitely after this, send me the link to all that, and I'm definitely gonna take it out, check it out for myself. Because I guess I was going based off like, oh, because Google Ads, they have their own ad copywriting, like, oh, we'll set up the whole campaign for you. And sometimes my clients do that, and it's like it gets you terrible, like trash results. Because I always believe, is very good at finding people. Like they will find you the best people, but it's up to you to create the copy. But I guess if the AI specifically programmed, if it looked at 90% of the content on the internet, and sees what works, sees what doesn't work, and then you can obviously tweak it and
Mm-hmm.
guide it to the right direction. Definitely can save you a lot of time. Because I was thinking about that, or like starting to get some more blog posts coming in. Um, but like writing it on my own, or like paying someone else to do it. But AI copywriting sounds like definitely a good place to start. I think it's a great way to like just easily get content going, and like you know
Yeah.
no, not a way to, yeah, a good way to start, and like and see where it goes, and then you can write a blog post in you know 30 minutes compared to an hour and a half. So it's really great. I mean, that's it for my end. For Thank you for answering all these questions, and you know dealing with my interruptions and all that stuff. Really appreciate it. Do you have any like questions for me? Or I know we've been here for like almost 2 hours now, and I really
Yeah, I'm gonna
appreciate
need
your
to
time.
take a break from the computer, but
Yeah,
if I mean, I will always have questions for you, because you're paid media specialist,
yeah,
and that's not my area of specialization, but I do a little bit of it.
hmm,
But so I will definitely shoot you any questions I have, and maybe we can do another meeting where
yeah,
I interview
definitely,
you.
yeah, 100%. Thanks so much, Alex. Again, thank you so much for your time.